Let us do one more CPM practice exercise. This is a little bit more complicated than the ones that we have done earlier. I'm going to quickly go through the forward and the backward pass, and our goal will be to identify all the activity dates, identify the critical path and the total float on all the tasks. So without further ado, I'm going to start. The numbers in red that you see here, like always, is going to be the duration of every individual activity. We are starting with the forward pass. As always, we start on day 1, and this is the early start of task A. What is the early finish? 1 plus 5 minus 1 is 5. Tasks B and C are going to be dependent on A, and from the early finish we are going to go to the next day, and that will be 6 here and also here. A key point that you have to note about this particular network diagram is it's a little tricky. Task D has 2 dependencies. It is dependent on B and also on C. Similarly, activity E has 2 dependencies. It is dependent on B and on C. Okay, this is what we have to take care of. Now, returning back to task B, the early finish is going to be 6 plus 4 minus 1, that is 9. And 6 plus 7 is 13 minus 1 is 12. Now, what is the early start on task D? This is dependent on B, which is 9 and 12. So we take the bigger date, that is 12, increment it by 1. So this is going to be 13. And the early finish on this is going to be 13 plus 3 minus 1, 15. Now, task E is dependent on these 2 numbers, 12 and 9. We take the bigger number, and so it is once again 13. 13 plus 5 is 18, minus 1 is 17. Now, task F again has 2 dependencies, so 15 and 17, the bigger is 17. So increment 1, 18. 18 plus 7 is 25, minus 1 is 24. Okay, and this will be 25 because I've incremented from 24. This is also going to be 25. And 25 plus 4 is 29, minus 1 is 28. And this is going to be 29. I is dependent on 28 and 29. 29, so increment 29. So this is 30. 30 plus 3 is 33, minus 1 is 32. And this is the total duration of the entire project. So I'm just going to circle it in. This is our total duration of the project, of the schedule. And we are done with the forward pass. We have to now start the reverse pass. So I'm just going to change the color of the pen. And the backward pass starts from the total duration. So I start with 32. And 32 minus the duration is 29, plus 1 is 30. This 30 is going to be an input for the late finish for G and H both. I will get 29 here and a 29. On task G, 29 minus 4 is 25, plus 1 is 26. This is the late start. Okay, now on activity H, 29 minus 5 is 24, plus 1 is 25. Now, task F is dependent on these 2 numbers, 26 and 25. So we take the smaller number and decrement 1 on a backward pass, which is completely reverse of the forward pass. So 25 minus 1 is 24. 24 minus 7 is 17, plus 1 is 18. Now, this 18 drives these 2 tasks, D and D, the late finish of these 2 tasks. So I subtract 1, and task D we get 17. And here also it is 7. Now let's find the late start on task D is 15. 17 minus 5 is 12, plus 1 is 13. Okay, now it's a little tricky. The late finish for task B is going to be dependent on 15 and 13. We take the lower number and decrement 1. 13 minus 1 is 12. Okay, 12 minus 4 is 8 and plus 1 is 9. For activity C, the late finish is going to be dependent on the two numbers 13 and 15. We take the lower number 13 and decrement 1. So 12 minus 7 is 5 plus 1 is 6. Now for activity A is going to be dependent on 6 and 9. We take the lower number 6, decrement 1. So we are back here at 5. 5 minus 5 is 0 and plus 1. We return back to day 1. So I'm going to circle this. This just shows that our forward and backward pass have been pretty much accurate. So the final step is to find the total float on individual tasks. So I'm just going to change the color of the ink to orange. And here, difference between the late start and the early start, here it is 0. 9 minus 6 is 3. Here it is 0. 0. 15 minus 13 is 2. Here it is 0. 18 is 0. And here the float is 26 minus 25, which is 1. And here it is 0. And here it is 0. Now I am going to identify the critical path. Choose the highlighter. Okay. A, C, E, F, H, and I.